Nintendo have given me everything I've asked for. And I'm still not happy. Hey, what's cracking everybody? Welcome back to Computer Games Hardware. Today on the channel, we are talking about everything Nintendo Switch 2. The good, the bad, and the outright crazy. But before we do, hey, just want to jump in here and say, if you're enjoying any of the content on Computer Games Hardware, please chuck us a like, share, and subscribe. Watching the videos really helps me out, guys. Thanks very much for that. You can also check us out on our socials. We've got Instagram, we've got Threads, we've got TikTok, we've got Blue Sky, and now we have a new Facebook page. So all the details are in the description below. We also have some affiliate links. Big thank you to Secret Lab for supporting the channel. We'll have some content around that out soon as well. So check those out, and thanks very much for watching, everybody. So let's dig into this thing. Recently, Nintendo just released their Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, which detailed everything we needed to know about the Nintendo Switch 2. Content creators have also got their hands on them, and first looks and impressions have been trickling through, and I wanted to give my 2 cents on what I took from the Nintendo Direct and all the content that's coming out through the Nintendo Switch 2. So has Nintendo made the Switch 2 super? I don't know. It's a bit of a mixed bag for me. There's a lot of good things, like I said, that have actually given me everything that I've asked for, but they've implemented a couple of drawbacks that I want to discuss with you guys as well. So let's talk about all the good stuff first. First up, we've got a larger 7.9-inch screen, which is LCD. It's 1080p resolution, and it is HDR compatible and VRR compatible. So that's pretty good in my book. I know some people are disappointed that it's not OLED, but my view is that you'll get that later down the line for the same price. So I think the refresh will be at the same price point, and you'll get a couple of extra features if you're willing to wait. That's what I did with the Nintendo Switch OLED model, and I'm expecting that to be the same for this generation as well. So I'm not too mad about that. The other big news, and the big thing that I was excited for, is that when the Switch 2 is docked, it can output 4K resolution at 60 frames per second. And this is fantastic news. We've all got 4K TVs now. Nintendo have finally caught up with the competition. So I think that's a win. The big question for me is how much of this will be upscaled. Is this the what you can expect? 4K, 60 FPS, stable frame rate for all the games that are 4K compatible? I think that's what it's going to be. It will mean that the games play at 4K, 60 frames per second, and you'll get an awesome experience for all of them. That's, my headcanon anyway. What do you guys think? Do you want to be able to, change the upscaling settings and things and that on a Nintendo console? Let me know in the comments down below. By the way, the Nintendo Switch 2 is being powered by a custom NVIDIA Tegra processor, which brings not only just upscaling DLS technology, but also ray tracing, and will be able to provide the performance and I think efficiency improvements to, get that silky smooth experience. The JoyCon 2 controllers have vastly been improved as well. They're a little bit bigger, and apparently they have a better feel to them as well. There's also an inbuilt sensor in them, so you can turn them on their sides and use them as mice. So think about playing Diablo or Baldur's Gate 3. There are even some games specifically made for that. There's a wheelchair game where you can hold it down and wheelchair, and there's also like a mini golf game as well that uses the sensor and the gyroscope in the Joy-Cons to be able to get that experience as well. So that is pretty cool. I'm really interested to see how the the magnetic Joy-Cons click into the consoles. Reports are that it feels really good and it doesn't feel like it's going to come out. They've got bigger buttons. The Joy-Cons themselves, the L and R buttons, are a lot bigger than the OG Switch as well. So it looks like they've put a lot of work into the Joy-Cons. Connectivity and storage has also been improved, so we're bumping up to 256 gigabytes of internal storage. You also have an SD card slot that is up to 2 terabytes, I believe. Those little SD cards are going to be quite expensive, so you're looking at $50-60 for those things as well, so that adds on a little bit to the cost, but you've got a little bit more storage, but I think it's going to be comparable to the original Switch. This time around it comes with 2 USB-C ports, one on the bottom, one on the top. You've obviously got the one for the camera there, which we'll talk about a little bit later. You've also got a built-in microphone, Ethernet, and all that good stuff. Let me tell you, if the Ethernet is not gigabit Ethernet, I will absolutely lose my mind. Good thing about it is you have those 2 USB things ports, so you'll be able to use adapters for better Ethernet if it's not, but they better just get it right the first time. Biggest thing though is going to be the software. Like most Nintendo consoles, the software looks absolutely incredible. The games look chef's kiss, baby. Especially with the first party Nintendo titles, they look like they are going to be top notch generational gaming experiences, and as I said before, expecting them to play docked in 4K with a stable 60 frames a second with VRR will just make that experience. I think it'll be a generational experience. I think this will be the best version of Nintendo games that you'll play. There's also, some, upscaled games from the original Switch and stuff like that, and we'll get into some of that as well. But that's going to be the big selling point for this console. That's everything that I was looking for with this console, and that makes me happy. But they've also put me in the shits, Nintendo, because they've done a couple of things that I find absolutely insane. And, for everything good, there's almost something bad. Let's start with the controllers. For all the good that the controllers have to them, there's a big issue with them. And it's been confirmed that these controllers do not have analog Hall effect joysticks. That is extremely disappointing. Now, I'll be honest with you, I have been extremely lucky with not just my Nintendo Switch, but all my Nintendo consoles. I cannot recall ever having an issue with a first-party Nintendo controller. And that goes for the Joy-Cons as well. I've got all of mine. They're all in perfect working order. And they've been battered as well. I've got 2 young kids. I've got an 8 and a 3-year-old. So, and that's their console. The Nintendo's the family console. It has been battered. But it, to Nintendo's credit, they have lasted the test of time. But I've been lucky because other people have not been so lucky, and some people have some big issues with stick drift with their Nintendo Switch consoles. So much so that I've seen online people are saying that this is actually a deal breaker because they are just not dealing with the stick drift that comes with the Joy-Con controllers. So let me know what you guys think. Now, the big feature that Nintendo have been sprawling around is this mysterious C button and their new game chat feature, which, look, I'll be honest, does seem kind of cool, but I also want to be realistic about it as well. So I've put it in the Nintendont section, so I'm going to be a little bit honest about it. It does seem cool, but I'm not sure why none of that stuff was built into the console, or it wasn't built into the dock anyway. Could you imagine having the camera being able to connect to the dock? It seems like it would make sense to have the camera on the console so you could get that experience while you're playing in handheld. I'm not sure why Nintendo didn't think of that. Who wants to be verbally abused while they're playing Mario Kart? This is Nintendo. It's not like, old Xbox 360 days. But I think this is a complete Rob the Robot situation from the original NES. It's going to sell a whole bunch of consoles. People are going to be like, yeah, let's try out the game chat feature. But eventually it's just going to fizzle out. It's going to go in the closet and it's going to be there collecting dust. And no one's ever going to press that button. Oh, by the way, that game chat feature is not free. There is a free period, but you have to have a Nintendo Online subscription, and it expires in March 2026. So really, the clock's already been ticking for a couple of months. So by the time this thing comes out, it's already got a shelf life. So when that goes, it's gonna. I reckon it will die, and it'll be one of those features that a few core people will play with, and then that's that. All right. So we've danced around it long enough. You know what I've been coming to if you've been around the channel for a little while. One thing Nintendont is play around with the price, because Nintendo this time around have turned this thing into a $750 Australian console. Not including the webcam, not including the SD card that you're going to need, not including the extra Joy-Cons for the extra kids and all that sort of stuff. This thing, flat out, $750, base model, no OLED. I know that upsets people and stuff like that. So what is that? $449 US. Unreal. This really sours the grape for me. This is going to be a hurdle that a lot of people are not going to be able to get over. This is an expensive console, got to be the most expensive Nintendo console in history, right? And it's not looking good on that front. On top of that, right, if you buy a physical game cartridge of a Nintendo console, depending on the flavor you get, and there's 3 of them, some of them don't have the full game on the cartridge. So you got to be extremely careful. They no longer have full games on the cartridge. You need to be always online, and you need to download the game depending on the circumstances. So I'll just break it down for you. There are a couple that you can buy, and I'm guessing that they're going to be the first party Nintendo consoles. Think like Donkey Kong, Super Mario Kart, and all the other, like, any new Mario games. That's not to be confirmed, so we need to check. We'll do a follow-up video on what kind of games they are, but there will be games that are on the cartridge, the full game that's on the cartridge. There's going to be games like old Switch games that have the full game on the cartridge, but then come with a downloadable upscaled version of it, the Switch 2 version of it. And then there are going to be partial games on the cartridge, and then you have to unlock the rest of it with a digital download. Unreal. So this time around, you have to be really careful on what physical media you buy. People are going to be buying physical copies at an inflated price and not getting what they paid for on the cartridge that they bought. I think that is absolute and utter insanity, and Nintendo should be embarrassed about it. Not only that, guys, not only that, but the prices for these games absolutely blow my mind. I cannot believe what's happening here. Currently in Australia, the games for the Nintendo Switch 2 range between $120 and $150.
Mamma mia!
So if you just go by the currency exchange for a US title, which is between $70 and $90, that's what Australians will be expected to pay for Nintendo Switch 2 games. That is absolutely madness to me. I cannot believe this is happening. And like, we're talking like games like Zelda, the first Zelda, I'm so annoyed about it, I can't even remember the name. The first Switch Zelda, whatever it's called, is a $70 game with an upscale. That game came out for the Wii U. That's a Wii U game. The Switch version is the upscaled version, right? And they're going to charge you $70 to play it on Nintendo Switch upscaled. Now, if you have the game, right, you're not safe either. You still have to pay for the upgrade, which is like $10 or something. But you know what? I guarantee you this is going to be the most pirated console in video game history. This thing is going to be hacked so hard and so quickly that it is going to make Nintendo's head spin. I reckon for the first time in history, Nintendo will have to drop their prices to be able to combat piracy, because the homebrew community will not rest. I guarantee it. I guarantee there are going to be so many different ways to hack this console. There are going to be so many scene players that are going to get into this on the mere principle alone that we will have this. I'm gonna call it, in the first 6 months, we are going to be playing pirated copies of Nintendo games because the prices are just too damn high. And you know what? Nintendo have built in a fatal flaw into the console, and that's where the OLED crew, who are disappointed that this is not an OLED screen, will be laughing later. I think the LCD screen will make more people happier to try and hack their console to get free games and be okay with only having to replace an LCD screen rather than an OLED, that this is going to be an opportunity for people. So, like, I could be wrong. Maybe they've put in some really impressive technology, but we will see. I think they've made a little bit of a mistake here. I think they've introduced piracy into the Nintendo ecosystem like they've never seen before. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Alright guys, so we've banged on a little bit about it. So they're the really disappointing things. They're the ones that sort of get me right here. This is going to be a pretty tough sell for me. Now, I'm going to be honest, right? It's one of those things that I'm just going to have to suck up. But one of the really, really disappointing things for me, and I've heard people talk about there's just something not right about it, and I think I've captured what it is. Like, there is a thing with this where this console feels like a Steam Deck competitor rather than a family entertainment system. Yeah, you think of Nintendo, you think of the Nintendo Family Entertainment System. Do you know what I mean? This one's for the kids. Who's thinking about the children?
Won't somebody please think of the children?
It just doesn't feel like a kid's console anymore. It feels like that they've sucked the joy out of this thing. They've taken all the color away. They've made everything premium. Hey, I've gotten everything I wanted out of it, but it seems like they've said, hey, this is for you. That's not for them. And Nintendo for me is a family console. It's the one we all play. It's the house console. Dad's got his work computer that he can play games on, but the Nintendo console is primarily for the kids. And I feel like they've taken that away a little bit. Now, you guys know this thing's going to sell out in a heartbeat, but it really does feel a little bit disappointed to me that they've sort of marketed this to the, They've made it premium for the quote-unquote gamers, and it seems like that, with that, they've said, all right, we're going to pound them on the price, we're going to pound them on everything else, because it takes away what Nintendo's all about. It just feels like it slots in with the ROG Strix, the Lenovo, and it's just another one of those to choose from a gamer who needs to be gaming on the go now. So I'm hoping that some of that joy is put back into the console through the software, and the kids get get the experience that they're looking for out of a new Nintendo as well. But currently, I can't really see it. At the price point that they're talking about, it just sucks all the joy out of it for me. Hey, even the demo has a $10 premium on top. You can't even demo this thing with anything else. The PS5 came with Astro Bot. Look what that turned out to be. It's become a new mascot thing. Nintendo have said, nah, yeah, you can't even try that. You can't even try the new features on your console without having to pay upfront for the demo. So, that really, puts a damper out of it. You might say, well, kids don't care about that as well. But, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like Nintendo. Now, they wanted to do the GameCube thing and make it a serious console for serious gamers. And, okay, that's fine. But, is that going to make me purchase it? I don't know. One thing I'm going to tell you is we're not going to have a huge game library, and it's a real good thing that my kids like Mario Kart and Just Dance, because guess what? Anyway, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I've had a really good time ranting on this one. I hope you've had a good time watching it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.